Welcome to a very special episode of Discover Connecticut. Tell your story. Creator and host Mark Pires, your realtor, joins a group of young minds as they embark on their journey. Listen to the inspiration and feel the motivation. This is Mark Inspires on Discover Connecticut.
I'm here with Ronnie and Cynthia from Upward Bound at Fairfield University. Tell me a little about what drew you to this. 30 years? Have you been doing this for 30 years?
Yes, 22 years at Fairfield University. Our motto is for students to be their best selves, and I think that Upward Bound provides our students, with the tools and the resources to become their best selves.
Ready for you, Mark. All right, my name is Mark Pires. I live here in Fairfield. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker. And Aaron asked me today, Dr. Graff, to come and speak to you guys about real estate. Before I start, is there anybody here who has an interest in real estate currently? If you want to raise your hand if you're thinking about it as a future profession. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to ask again at the end. I want to see if there's any change in that. So what you're doing is building relationships. My brother-in-law always says, your business is unique because you have to recreate yourself after every transaction. This is very true. If I don't do a great job with this client, they're not going to tell their next friends and family that show up. So you want to try to make sure the people that like you tell their friends about you, because if they like you and they like their friends are going to like you. That's just a reality of it. So always reach out to the people that love you and say, hey, who do you know? Just please, when they're talking about it at cocktail parties, when they say, I'm thinking about what's my house worth. I got someone, he's a good friend of mine. You like me, you're going to like him. So make sure you're making those connections, building some sort of trust and relationship. And this is a very lucrative business if you can keep that pendulum moving and the momentum moving forward. You have to somehow separate yourself from the rest of the market. Because as I said, I could throw a stone and hit 50 realtors. So why are they going to choose me over everybody else? This gets back to the practical question, what makes you different? I said something once a week, my old manager would sit us down for this thing called practice makes permanent. And his concept was the more you do something, this is a permanent fixture within you, how you run your business. And so he would sit down, we'd sit in a circle, the whole office, and there'd be a basket in the middle. And you'd sit there in front of everybody, you pull something out of that basket, it's folded up, and you'd hand it over to Dave, my manager, and he would open that up, and in front of everybody, he would ask you a pointed question you had to answer as if you were sitting across from a client. And so his question to me was, what makes you different? And I said, well, I wake up every day thinking, what can I do differently in order to sell my properties? The whole room goes, ooh. And I was like, what was that? That's true. I wake up every day. I'm like, what I did yesterday didn't work. So what am I going to do today? I have to think differently constantly. We discussed something earlier. There is only the moment. This moment that we're in right now is the only thing that's ever existed in the history of time. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow doesn't exist. But this moment, it's singular. God created everything right now. It all ends right now, and we're living within that now as well. So the closer you can get to this second every day of your life, I think you find your happiness. You may not have all the money in the world, but if you live in the moment, you will feel the joy and the energy of life. I want to make every moment magical. And that doesn't mean being caught up on what I did yesterday. I know that didn't work, or I know it did. Learn from the things that we did yesterday and stay here, stay present. It's called the present for a reason. It is a present. It's a gift. We get so sidetracked by life. You guys know what's going on in the world. You could sit there and just go down a rabbit hole every day. You start looking into whatever's online. You scroll on TikTok, you scroll on Facebook, all these platforms, it's all negative. Now, I don't know if your parents ever said this to you before, but when I was a kid, my parents used to say to me, when you go to a cocktail party, when you're out with friends, don't ever talk about religion, politics, or money. Has anybody ever heard this before? Did your parents say that to you? You heard that? So why is it when we're on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, every single scroll is religion, politics, or money? Anybody ever thought about that? Because they want us divided. They don't want us connecting because we are so unique. The most beautiful thing about you is that there's never been another, you are the only. So you don't need to change. There's nothing about you that needs to change. You are a fine wine. It takes time for you to become the perfect version of that wine. But you're perfect. There's nothing about you that needs to change. You're so uniquely beautiful, everything about you. And so when someone says, well, you should be like her, or you should be like him. No, I'm me. And that's what you tell them. You're you, and you're still trying to figure out what that means. All right, we're on a journey to find our unique genius. I call it unique genius because I believe each of us has something unique we do better than everybody else on earth. You may not find it for a while. And when you do, it may not make you money, but you're at least living your truth. You are authentic. Okay, so find that path. You're gonna deviate. You're gonna deviate a lot, guys, but you find yourself back. And there's all these other distractions on the way. It's just about wanting it and never giving up. To me, there's one reality. Failure's not trying. My failures are where I'll find my success. So out here as a real estate agent every single day, this is how I run my business. I think about everything practically and how we're meant to thrive together. So my clients thrive. When my clients put the houses on the market, I get more money because I'm passionate about their homes. If you want to do this for a profession, if you have an interest in making a living as a realtor, everybody's got their license, so you have to find a way to express your unique genius to everybody. You have to show them why you're the best realtor. Why would you want to work with anyone else? And this is why every day my goal is to show up. Living in the moment allows you to fully express yourself, okay? And once you do that, you start to get confident. Life is about confidence. I hope you guys realize this. The most important thing, it's not cockiness, it's confidently knowing what you can do, what your abilities are, what your limitations are. That also comes from confidence. So it's a journey, it's an experience, it's not easy. I'm standing up here, I'm passionate about my business, but I've been doing this for 17 years. I've had great years, I've had terrible years. It's a roller coaster ride. Just want you to understand up front, if you're thinking about real estate, you're not up here always. You're up here and then you're riding it down for 3 months. You're waiting for the next transaction to come through. And it's just, that's the reality. It's the doors open, not on the days you make money, but on the days you don't. Because I'll tell you, the days you make money, you take your foot off the gas. Oh, I'm gonna go and grab lunch today. I'm gonna celebrate, got dinner tonight. You gotta keep that foot down. The winds bring you up, but you gotta remember, tomorrow's gonna be tough again. And so make a call when you're feeling great. Don't sit there on the sideline and be like, okay, I had a great day, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna go and just go to the casino today. Make a phone call when you're living on top of the world. You'd be surprised how people respond to you when they could feel your confidence through the phone line. Here's a little side note and just a tip to life. Whenever you call anybody, and I hate talking on the phone, I don't know about you guys, but I just hate like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm not that guy, okay? Don't call me and be like, what's up? I'm not into it. But when you get someone on the phone who's smiling when they're speaking to you, you can feel it. So just make it a conscious effort. Whenever you call anybody, whether it's your friend, the doctor, the deli guy you're gonna put your sandwich order into, which is who you should always be smiling when you're talking to, by the way. But you wanna make sure that you're smiling when you talk to people. And it can't be fake. You gotta really, you're excited to talk to someone. You don't know what's gonna happen. If you're living in the moment, you are literally out there without a net. You're on that high wire. I'm calling anybody. I'll cold call anybody. If they hang up on me, yeah, it hurts for a second, but I'm picking up the phone again because someone's gonna answer my phone call. We're gonna have a conversation. I may not get a piece of business out of it, but it's something that's gonna push me towards something else I'll do. And if you are present, it's gonna keep driving you towards new opportunities or maybe just new things to fail at. Remember, a failure is you moving towards your success. Anybody have any questions? I see you're pondering. Anybody else got any questions about it? About being a realtor, about anything, about what your life path is? I am a motivational speaker as well, as you probably can tell. So I'm happy to talk to you about any topics while I'm here. I believe when you guys get through high school, college, you're into your next part of life, and you should consider by 18 getting your license as a realtor. If I could go back in time, just a little side note, I'm gonna get to your question, absolutely. If I could go back in time, I would've got my license at 18 and not at 28. Your friends from college, their kids are all in college now, they're gonna be selling their homes. Hey, Miss Kelly, Johnny said you're thinking about selling your house. Before you list with all those people you know in town, would you give me a shot at it? Will you let me list it? I'm very passionate about this. I wore a suit for the first couple of years. For the first 8 years I was in the business every day, full suit. Like I dressed, this is a half suit, I guess. I don't have the jacket anymore, but I used to full suit it every day because I was the youngest guy in town. Everybody else had been in the business for 30, 40 years. They'd all done they put people in their houses and then again, and then again. And I'm there in town. I went to school with all their kids. They're all like, oh yeah, you went to school with my son. And I'm like, yep, and I'm here to take all of your business. I mean, like that's the reality of it. Like what I did when I came in there as the young guy, The first thing was suit. I got to show them I'm more professional than the rest of the agents, even though I'm the young guy. So what did I do different? I showed up in a suit. In 2013, I bought a drone for the first time. I was the first realtor in Fairfield County in Connecticut to buy a drone, first realtor. I was all over the news in 2013. If you go back and type my name and type in quadcopter, because that's what they used to call drones, you'll see Mark Pires, the first realtor in Connecticut, Fairfield County. I remember my wife said, you know, you just told everybody to buy a drone. And I said, yeah, but that doesn't mean they have an eye. Now, if you're an artist, you know what that means. Most people don't have an artistic eye. And as an artist, that was like, my favorite thing is I try to explain this to people. Value is in doing the work and separating yourself from everybody else. Yes, I gave everybody the idea of buying a drone. And since then, I've seen a lot of very terrible drone photos. You know, people shooting the roof, you know, but when I pull up to a house with my drone, I already know what I'm gonna shoot. Before I even take that thing in the air, I already visualized the 7 or 8 shots I know are gonna be amazing there. Because I'm an artist. I walk up there and I can see it on a frame in my mind. And so when I fly my drone up into that spot that I already saw in my mind, I'm just snap, let me scroll over. I'm in and out of there 2-3 minutes. Some of these people buy a drone and they can't even get a good shot. They don't even know how to take the shot correctly. So yes, you give people ideas all the time. You know how many people I gave an idea to start a show to? I started a show on December 31st, 2018. I've been live every day since. I'm the only soul on earth. You know I'm the longest running daily streamer on earth? You guys never see me, right? They've kept me from you for a very good reason. The inspiration you felt today has been here every day for 6 years. But there's a reason they don't want you to find Mark Pires, because I'm going to keep showing every day until my heart stops beating. They don't want that. They don't want us connecting. I'll leave you with a quote here before I ask you again who wants to be a realtor. You have to want everything you go for in life. And you have to want it so much that when someone says, how badly do you want it? You say, I'm going to keep going, because the only difference between me and my physical heart is that I won't stop. And that's the reality of life. Believe it, and you'll become it. Dr. Graff and I were talking about this earlier. There are things we can't change in this world. So why do they have us focusing on that exclusively? You know? It's the little conversations and the head nod that you and I would have in the hallway. That's what matters in life. Do you know that I've never met a person who thinks differently than me ideologically that I don't perfectly get along with in life? I've never, ever not gotten along with someone because they believe different things than me. Everybody I've ever come in contact with in life, I get along with. I don't care what you believe. I want to connect on what's important. You know, we're supposed to think things that are different. Don't you remember what I said at the beginning, how unique you are? You can't be the most unique that anyone's ever been in the history of time and then also think like everyone else. That's why they dial in on that division, because they know how unique you are. This is a little side note just for you to understand, because this is very interesting. Those 3 or 4 topics we're talking about, 3, 4 topics, the ones they force on us daily, how many topics would you say we actually get along on? It's more than 3 or 4, right? I'd say probably thousands. There's probably 100,000 things they could talk about. And we go, yeah, that's cool. But they focus on the things they know that we don't get along on. So don't fall into that trap. Don't sit there on your phone scrolling, because all you're gonna get is negativity. I call the TV the negatube, and the internet's not that far behind. Try to gravitate towards the things that lift you up, and don't get dragged into the things that bring you and everybody else around down. Anybody else have any questions? Anything else you want to say? My man. Yeah, I was just telling Dr. Graff about that. So this past year was probably one of the worst years I've ever experienced. From the beginning of the year until the day of the election. There was so much uncertainty in the world and no inventory on the market. The rates are so high, so no one's leaving their 2.5% to 3% mortgage rates to go to a 6 or 7. So now I'm dealing with a whole new marketplace. What kind of marketplace is that? It's a market where you only get first-time home buyers and people are like, I'm leaving, I'm going to Florida. And then all of a sudden, I think just the people knowing we're finally moving forward, there's no more of this craziness you're seeing on TV. People got back to what was important, which is housing and where they're going to put themselves for the next year or 5 years. And so the last 2 months of the year, I did all of the business that I would have done the whole year anyway. And I ended out the same as I would have, most likely, if I had a very consistent year. But to your point, it was terrifying. And did I get discouraged? Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to have those moments. You guys ever heard of Dr. Wayne Dyer? Look him up and look up this quote specifically. I had a mentor who told me this about 15 years ago, and I live by it now. And the quote is to change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. And that is a brilliant quote. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. And that's just true to life, all around. No matter what you're looking at in life, this can go social, this can go for business. The way you look at it is giving you one perspective. You've got to shift and look at it from another angle. And to me, it's always try to find a positive within whatever's going on. That's the change the way you look at it angle that you really want, because that's where growth comes from. You're going to have a lot of failures in life, but you're going to learn from those failures if you look at it from the right angle. This is an energy game, my friends. Who's got it? If you show up with that smile, you're going to do very well in life. It's true. Nobody realizes a smile has an energetic value that costs zero to the currency holder. That's one of my quotes. I wrote that in Instagram in 2019. A smile has an energetic value that costs zero to the currency holder. It costs me zero to give my smiles. But each one has an energetic value. So if it costs me nothing to give, but it lifts you up a level, why wouldn't I just smile all the time? And just tell yourself that. Like, I can actually affect this person's entire world. And just smile at them. Sometimes they don't even realize it. How about this? Have you ever walked by somebody you don't even know and they smile at you and all of a sudden you feel better? That's because a smile has an energetic value that costs zero to the currency holder. It's powerful.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you, in terms of you as a motivational speaker, do you spend as much time for nurturing that business?
No, I wish I had more opportunities to do that. I do it on my show. But I think it's also another issue with the not being seen, because the show has been this. It's basically I'm on air talking like this. But I remember one day, it was early on Instagram, someone goes, "Do you know who Gary Vee is?" And I go, "No." And they're like, "You sound like him." And I watched him, I was like, dang. I was like, we kind of have that same positive energy, like look at it. And that's when I started doing, when I was like, okay, but no one's ever seen me. He started before me. I realized I got in late at 2018. At that point, they kind of had this whole idea that they wanted you to see a specific thing. But before that, you could just start and they'd be like, we need people to watch this. We just need people to find our platform. But once YouTube got to the point where they didn't need people anymore, it was like about we could curate this content and make sure they only see what we want them to see. And I don't fit their narrative, unfortunately. You know that YouTube considers me harmful? Can you believe that? I literally was demonetized and called harmful in February of last year. It's been a year. I've appealed 3 times, and each time they say, nope, you're harmful. And I'm like, the ultimate positivity platform, live songwriting, 432 hertz. You guys ever heard of 432 hertz? I'm going to share another piece of wisdom with you, okay? All the music you hear, when you type in and you listen on Spotify, almost every song you listen to is at 440 hertz. 440 hertz was instituted in the 1930s by the Germans, okay? I don't know if it's anything nefarious. 440 hertz, if you look at it underwater, they run the frequency of 440 hertz and 432 hertz. 440 hertz looks like disturbing. It's very weird. 432 hertz looks like snowflakes. It's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see in your life. Do you know they call the 432 hertz frequency the solfeggio, which means the God frequency? Do you know why? Because they say 432 hertz is a healing frequency. 432 hertz is also the same frequency that the earth moves at. So why wouldn't they have all music run at 432 since the earth is moving at 432? Well, again, 440 hertz looks really disturbing if you look at it. Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, and Prince all wrote at 432. Nobody knew it, but that music, you could feel it. I'm a self-trained musician. I never took a lesson in my life. I just write what I feel. But I always had this, my ear is pretty sharp, to the point that when I'd play a D chord, it always sounded sharp. I always be like, it sounds shrill, a D chord. But if you tune your guitar to 432 hertz and you strum a D chord, it sounds like heaven. That's why I know it's right. It's because the D chord finally sounds correct. I feel like everything you're hearing is potentially healing you in some way. It may be mentally, but it's giving you some peace of mind. I'm sorry, my friend, you have a question?
What would you say are the skills needed for your line of work, and if anyone can develop those skills?
For real estate?
Yeah.
Anybody can learn this business. There are people that have been doing it for a very long time that probably should be doing other things, and people that just started, and they both do the job the same way. It's how they go about approaching the job, cultivating new clients, Servicing their clients, that's different. But the work itself, anybody can learn and anybody can do. My philosophy for you guys is if you're going to college, you should just have a license. Just get it. Even if you do no business, having a license in case somebody you know wants to buy or you're in college and somebody wants to go rent a place, you get a commission on that. Do you know that? You're in college and one of your friends wants to go rent a new apartment. I got my license, I'll take care of you. Now you're working with all the college kids, getting them their apartments, and you're making extra cash on the side. That's an unreal business model that I never thought of. But you could go, say you went to Fairfield U next year, and you're like, guys, I'm a realtor, just let you know. You want a place not here on campus, you want a little place for, just let me know, I got everybody. Put little flyers up in the bulletin. It's a wrap. I think you kill it. Especially if you wear that hat when you take the photo. Anything else? You guys, any other questions?
How did your first sale go, and how did your most recent sale go? What was successful about them?
Okay, a couple cool stories. This goes back to make sure you reached out to everybody you know, everybody and anybody. The more pointed question you should have asked is how long did it take you to get to that first transaction? And that was not overnight. So I got my license, and I think when I finally got that first deal, it was about almost a year in. My father's a builder, my brother's a builder. Before I got into the real estate business, I worked with my dad. I was still working with my father while I was getting my feet wet in real estate. So my suggestion would be do something to keep yourself going at a part-time basis, because you're not going to be busy every day as a realtor. You're not going to be busy every day as a realtor. You have to find ways to be busy. You have to knock on doors. I'm starting to do that again. Like, no one does that. I'm going to start knocking on doors, setting the cameras up. Dr. Graff, you coming with me? Don't come to my house, he said. No, but it took about a year to get to that first transaction. Now, my most recent transaction was actually yesterday. Actually, I had two this last week. Yesterday was a rental, but I'll just give you a quick overview of how the last month has gone. I told you how I went from basically like the Wild West dead market to probably a very, very healthy market for what I would say for myself personally. A friend of mine from high school called and said, my mother just passed and we have to sell her house. Could you help us? And so I said, absolutely. And I started doing the research, and I saw that this property is worth about $900,000, okay? Maybe $1 million. This is New Canaan, Connecticut, one of the nicest towns in the Northeast, all right? So I said, look, I think you're gonna do well. There's nothing on the market. My suggestion is you put a carrot out there. You don't say, okay, if it's worth $1 million, put it on for $1 million. No, if it's worth $1 million, you put it on for $8.99. You put it on for $9.25, because a market will always be a market. I'm still waiting for someone to trust me to put their house on for a penny and let a market be a market. Because you could say no to every single offer until you get the number you want. But I will tell you what, people would freak out if they saw your house on for a penny. And they'll start thinking, what do I have to offer in order to get this? So, and I only realized that because I sold an iPad on eBay once, and like I couldn't believe after a week of trying to sell it, I didn't sell it, but everybody else was selling their iPads. And for more money, I was trying to sell it for like $159, buy it now. Free shipping, right? And I'm looking, I see all these iPads selling for $163, $167, $172, and I'm like, that's more than mine, and mine's new. Like, this is weird. So like, before I relist it, buy it now, $159 again for another 7 days. Let me see what happened. Did that little research I was saying. It kind of relates to everything. And I'm like, wow, that one sold for more, but they started at a penny. And I'm looking, they all had that was the same thing. They all had it in common. That last 30 minutes, I wish I was there a fly on the wall the last 30 minutes of those listings. Because it was like nothing, then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And they're fighting now. It's like, no, you're not gonna beat me. They went $7 to $12 more. But in the moment, the heat of the moment, these people are fighting. And it gets back to human nature. So this property, I put it on at $899. Not one agent came in and said, you overpriced it. Because I didn't. I put a good number on it. I put the number. I could have gone higher. I had 15 offers. After 7 days, we did best and final. The house that started at $899,000, I sold for $1,626,000. So every transaction's different. I will tell you this, I don't cut my commission. And I've had many people, this is something you should learn too. You're gonna have a lot of people that wanna cut your commission. 17 years I've been doing this, they wanna cut your commission right away. A funny story, I went on this property in New Canaan. I had just gotten my first drone and I was in the news that year. So I went to see these people. They had 3 agents come in, the top firm in town, the agent they bought the house with, and me. I walked in and I'm like, I'm not getting this. The guy who they bought the house with is gonna get the listing. Just thinking, but I'm like, I'm gonna go in there and just do what I do best. I walked in there, I had a big stack of stuff in my drone. I go, look, I got all this stuff that we could go through, and I got my drone. What do you want to do? Go through this or fly the drone? They're like, let's fly the drone. So now we're out in the front lawn, I'm flying the drone with them, and that was it. Like we connected. But so I find out, I said, I just have to ask you, sign with me, and I said, I just have to ask you, like, why didn't you hire the agent you bought the house with? Because he's the top agent in the town. That's the other thing. Like, not only did he buy the house with this agent, he's the top agent in the town. So I said, I just want to know, because it helps me, how did I win over this guy? And they said, you came in and we fought with you on your commission, and you fought for your commission, but this guy came in and said, before we even said anything, he goes, I could do it for 4%. And I said, doesn't that concern you? They said, yeah. Well, we were very concerned because before we even bring it up, he's willing to cut his own commission. I said, yeah, if he's willing to cut his commission, what is he going to do to the value of your house when offers come in? And this is what I tell everybody who wants to cut my commission. I say, listen, sir, I'm not going to cut my commission. You know why? Because when someone comes and they give you a lowball offer, I'm going to fight to get you more. But someone who takes lower commission, oh, yeah, no, here's fun. You can take that offer, Now, I've lost a lot of deals in 17 years because I don't push my clients to do anything. I give my clients information and let them make the decisions. And that's the best agent you could be. Don't force people in any direction. Give them good advice and let them make decisions. Anyway, I appreciate you guys giving me the time today. Thank you. And please, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me. Thank you for being a captive audience, and I hope to see you sometime soon. Take care.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, you're giving them a taste of something that they may not have access to where they are during the day, and I think they understand that benefit.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, they show up here excited to learn more because they may not be able to get those lessons where they go on a daily. But I think what I could say is trying to reach new people, connect new people to their success, being the best version of yourself. These are all things that we support here at Discover.
Like this for you, graduate.
Yes, exactly. It's all the work you do in life. And don't sit at home and say, I could have done it. Go do it. Failure doesn't exist. You sitting at home is failure. Trying and failing is just redirecting and consistently moving you towards your success. So I want to thank you again, Ronnie, Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you guys for watching us here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Discover Connecticut, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, Ronnie and Cynthia.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, like, and share. Let us know what your favorite part of the episode was. And if you'd like to bookmark for a motivational speech, shoot us an email at discoverctproductions@gmail.com. Would you like to list your house? Perhaps be on an episode of Discover Connecticut? Send a DM directly at mark.pires@cbrealty.com. Until next time, this is Discover Connecticut.